Hi, this is Ralph Zuranski. I'm on the phone with Mike Stewart. He is the audio and video guy that I've met at a lot of the different internet marketing conferences that I've been to. Mike gets up there and plays his guitar and just shows the power of sound and video when you're actually making presentations, whether it's a business presentation or personal presentation. How are you doing today, Mike?
Oh, it's great. Thank you, Ralph, for having me.
Do you think that you could maybe explain a little bit about what it is? I know that you spent a lot of time as a professional engineer and you had your own studio to do audio. Tell us what you're doing now.
Well, that's what my background is. I own a recording studio for over 25 years in the Atlanta market, producing original music, television music, commercial music for radio and television commercials, recording voice narrations for television commercials, and so I have a television and radio broadcast background, a creative background, and an engineering background for sound engineering and music composition. And I did that from 1980 to 1999. Started on that before the internet existed. But when the internet came out and computers became more, PCs became more and more prevalent in people's homes, and everybody started buying them in the 90s. They came with speakers, and they weren't really utilizing what sound could do for like television and radio did. And to me, the internet was nothing more than television and radio. So I made a commitment in 96 and 97 to learn how to use audio visuals with this new broadcast medium. The internet to me is nothing more than another broadcast technique, but it's broadcast technology that can be put in the hands of individuals, not controlled by major corporations and cost prohibitive for anyone to get into. And I thought, well, if I can understand how it works on the internet, then I can show others how they can become their own radio and television stations, because basically a website is nothing more than a television station in my eyes. And the difference is that the network television and local television stations and radio stations know how to produce audio-visual content, but the individual entrepreneurs that have websites and the different types of websites out there, these are people who never thought about what's involved in creating that kind of content, and they never had a need to, because 10, 15 years ago, you wouldn't consider creating auditory content. You wouldn't be considering making video content or multimedia audio-visual content. But because computers are so fast, the internet is so fast, the connectivity is so worldwide, there is an opportunity to communicate stronger and better using the internet and learning to create audiovisual content. And then the byproduct of learning that skill is that you can create profitable, prospering products in auditory and audiovisual formats that can be duplicated and shipped or downloaded. So it's twofold. It's communication via the web in a much more powerful way is what I empower people to do today, and then two, to be able to use your own computer to create content that you can sell and prosper from. So you shouldn't limit yourself to just being able to do text and pictures. There's a whole other avenue that a computer will allow you to create, and that's what I present and show to people and try to empower them on a daily basis. Is these are the tools and the software and the hardware that enables your creative juices to create other types of communication pieces, whether it be from a website or be duplicated onto a CD or DVD. That's what the opportunities are available to everyone, but everyone doesn't know how to do it, and that's where I try to fill that gap.
Yeah, well, that's why I chose you as one of my heroes to help provide that training and the resources necessary for the different schools and businesses that want to go in search of heroes in their own communities or in their own businesses. What is your definition of heroism?
Well, I think that anybody who is on this planet who can do something to make it better for everyone else is a hero. My hero that I really feel like he's a mentor to me is Thomas Edison. And if you think about what he did, he's an example of persistence. He's an example. His example helps other people to better their lives. I don't remember. I don't want to quote the person who said it. I think it was Emerson, but it says have succeeded. If one person breathed easier because I was here, then I have succeeded. And forgive me if it wasn't Emerson that said that, but I remember the quote. And I think that's why Thomas Edison is my hero. He invented so many things that have saved lives and helped people. You know, lighting and electricity, the telephone. I mean, you know, there wouldn't be 911 on a telephone to save people's lives had Edison not improved the telephone. I know Alexander Graham Bell invented it, but Edison was involved with so many things. The phonograph, the recording industry, which, you know, the audio recording and editing industry, you know, all stemmed from his vision in 1876. So he has been my lifelong hero. I usually use him in my presentations because, you know, just the example that he set has empowered my life, made my life better, and I think to be a hero is that you've got to pass that on. And, you know, heroes can be of all types. I mean, generally we think of heroes are people who win in battle, and they most definitely, people that went in the military are definitely heroes. But there are other type of heroes too, you know, I like to recognize the people that have changed the world for the better as being heroes, just as well as those that were brave in battle. So that's my definition of a hero, and I don't want to slight the great military people out there, the veterans and so forth. So I just wanted to put my definition of why I think that's in addition to. That makes sense?
Sure, absolutely. Well, you're quite an entertainer and a creative guy. Did you ever create a secret hero in your mind that helped you deal with life's difficulties?
I wouldn't say it was a secret hero. I think that the people that I talk to on a regular basis, even though my father's been gone 4 years now, he's still a hero to me, and I talk to him frequently in my mind. I ask him, what should I do? And I actually talk to Thomas Edison. I go, Tom, what should we do? And you know, so these aren't secret heroes. I don't have an imaginary secret person. I think about the great mentors of my life occasionally, and those are the heroes that I think of in my mind. And so I guess secret wouldn't be the word for me. It's remembering the great works of great people.
There's always a question in society about goodness, ethics, and moral behavior. What is your perspective on those important aspects of a person's life? Goodness, ethics, and moral behavior.
How that affects my life, or do I think? I mean, obviously, I think it's important. I don't think that people should, could, or do succeed if they don't bear those qualities. You know, I'm a firm believer in what you reap, you sow. And if you sow those type of characteristics, then the goodness will follow. As opposed to if you don't have those characteristics, call it karma, call it reap what you sow. Boy, there was my dyslexia kicking in. You know, you can't go a whole lifetime without having to pay for your actions. So if you expect to do you know, the golden rule. I mean, all these things exist because they work, and so I try my darndest to do to think that I can be as ethical as possible, be as good as possible, be as fair, be as honest, and you know, you can become prosperous and successful maintaining all those characteristics, and you don't have to hurt, cheat, steal, lie to succeed in this world. There's opportunities. I think it's also law of cause and effect. When you put out good returns to you, and when you choose the other path, it seems like you can create a life of difficulty for yourself just because of the law of cause and effect. So I'd recommend for any hero, any successful person, to definitely choose those characteristics over any other alternative.
Boy, that's so true. There's always a question about what are you willing to sacrifice your life for. There's sort of like a dichotomy. Would you run into a burning building to save the lives of people that were trapped, or would you sacrifice your life for a worthy principle as stated by Earl Nightingale?
You know, I've never been confronted with that decision. It's hard for me to speculate. Obviously, my children, my family, my wife, if my freedom was taken away, which it never has, I would imagine that you'd be willing to give up your life if it was obvious that you were going to be oppressed. So the things that are of a true value in your life, if those were threatened and genuinely threatened to be taken away, I'd be willing to sacrifice my life for those things. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for me to relate because in my 51 years on this planet, I've been very blessed, and I've never had to confront such a prospect. My family has. My mother has had that, and fortunately she didn't have to become in harm's way because of it. But, you know, my father went to World War II, and, you know, I would have done what was expected of me if I were asked to. Mm-hmm. And that, I think that's what the cost of freedom and the cost of having the joys that we've enjoyed in this world are expected of us. But I don't wish it on anybody. I wish we did have utopia where there was no issues of people having to sacrifice anything just to live peacefully and live as if it should be like a heaven, mm-hmm. you know, where there isn't conflict. But we don't live there. We live in a world that can have situations where some people do have to make ultimate sacrifices. And if that was my lot, if that's what was cast to me, then I'd have to respond in the responsible, ethical way.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has low points in their lives. What was the lowest point in your life, and how did you change your path to one of victory over all obstacles?
Well, I've had several points in my life, and I don't know which one would be lower than the other. Years ago, I was a young father with 2 young children, and their mother decided to leave us all. And that was a low point. And I decided to take care of my children and do the best I could and run a business. And it was just a mental persistence, you know, thinking about Tom Edison and saying that, you know, you just don't give up. You know, you never fail as long as you keep trying. You know, mm-hmm. You know, and I kept thinking about that. I just got to keep going because I have a responsibility to these children. So that was a low point, and the fact that I kept moving forward, things did, you know, ultimately turn around and got better. Mm-hmm. And then a few years ago, I made some poor financial decisions and poor business decisions, which it was a low point because it set me back quite a bit financially. And it was, you know, rather than to admit defeat, I was determined that I'm going to find out the information I needed to turn it around. Mm-hmm. And it ironically or not ironically, maybe I think you know, part of my belief system is it wasn't irony. It was the destiny. Mm-hmm. An old friend, and I even say this when I do my presentations on stage, is an old friend 25 years ago told me to buy the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I had read it, yet never did comprehend it. So back in this low point in '99, where I was over $100,000 in debt, I was in Borders bookstore and noticed that Think and Grow Rich was sitting on the shelf and almost called me, like, you know, buy me. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I bought the audio CDs of the Think and Grow Rich book in 1999. And that became a complete inspiration for a business that now, here 5 years later, has completely turned around all of that negativity.
Boy, that's really great.
And so, like I said, I think that low point was a blessing that I had lessons I had to learn, but you know, it also made me realize that I couldn't learn as a text reader. I was an auditory learner, mm-hmm. which has now become a worldwide business for me, mm-hmm. and you know, proudly can say that I didn't declare bankruptcy and I paid all that debt off.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's great. Well, how important is it to have a dream or a vision that sets a course of your life?
How important is it?
Yeah,
I think it's primary. It's mandatory, and there's, you know, dreamers get things done. Dreamers who dream and take action. Dreamers alone that don't take action are just dreamers. But dreamers who take action change the world. Mm-hmm. And you know, go back to Thomas Edison, my hero. Mm-hmm. What a dreamer!
Yeah.
You know, people told him he was crazy. You can't make an electric light bulb. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you failed. It took you 9,999 times to make that light bulb. So you were a dreamer. You failed. But then he said, well, I found out 9,999 ways not to make a light bulb, mm-hmm. and I knew eventually I'd run out of things that didn't work. Mm-hmm. You know, that's just, I've kind of lost my little train of thought here. But
well, that's okay. That puts us into the next question. how much courage does it take to pursue ideas, new ideas in particular, where you know that you're going to have misfortunes, mistakes, setbacks?
How much courage?
Yeah.
Whatever ounce you can muster up. You know, I can remember many times my brain saying, "Don't do that. They're not interested," and having to have a conversation with myself saying, "Don't listen to that."
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the courage you need, is to have enough energy to go ahead and say, "I'm willing to do something that is uncomfortable," and accept that the end result may not be as devastating as my mind can think it will be.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary to get on stage and speak in front of people. To this day, I get butterflies, but I'm so glad I do it. It builds relationships with all kinds of people I would have never otherwise met. It creates all the things that I'm trying to create in my life. Is that there are so many areas that took a little bit of courage, but not a lot of courage, of just don't let your mind convince you to procrastinate and stop.
Well, there's a lot of people in our lives that want us to stay the way we are. They're comfortable with who we are and what we are, and they create a certain amount of negative stimulus to keep us that way. What do you feel about the idea of having to change the people that you hang around with to basically find people that will support you in achieving your dream?
Well, you know, one of the toughest things, and one of the reasons I think there are so many people that stay stagnated in their growth process in this country, is that generally sometimes family members can be some of the most negative influences on their lives. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. Why do that? You know, parents can be that way, friends, and you have to be smart enough and have enough clarity to understand that you can't listen to negativity of any kind. You have to write down what you intend to do, and you have to read it out loud daily, and then you cannot you have to put on blinders to any negativity that you hear from input from other people. I mean, I look back on all the people in my life who said, you know, you can't start a business, you can't do this. Oh, there's enough of that already. Oh, there's too many people doing that. There's no way you'll succeed. I mean, that's an opinion. There's no proof of it until you take action. And so what happens is that if you do nothing, I'll guarantee you your results. But I can't guarantee your results if you take an action. And I love what John Reese told me one time: if it works, keep doing it. If it don't, stop. And if you just do something and see the result, you'll get a whole list of things that will be successful for you. It's inevitable. And you know, the final thing is, you know, when you surround yourself with like-minded people, you will start losing contact or start losing negativity from the other people. You'll get to the point where you can't tolerate any negative input. And I think the best suggestion is that one guy said one time, you are the average of your 5 closest mentors or friends. So, you know, and Brian Tracy said, if you intend to fly with eagles, you can't hang with turkeys.
Boy, you know, isn't that true?
So I feel like that you and I, Ralph, we're in a good circle of very successful, influential mentors that just give me ideas on a daily basis, whether through the internet, whether through conversations, whether it's seminars. But, you know, it takes courage and energy to go buy a plane ticket and show up somewhere.
Yeah, boy, it sure does, doesn't it?
And but you know what? If you don't do that, I'll guarantee your result. You'll stay right where you are. And if you're content and you're with that, I'm not critical of you. But if you don't like where you are, but you do nothing about it, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Well, you know, it's true that if you don't do anything, you're not going to get anything. But the same thing of what you're already doing is sort of like the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing every day, expecting a different outcome.
You know, people like to be victims. They like to blame, you know, oh, if I didn't have that. You know, I got so many people I could blame for my downfalls in my life. Yeah. I accept responsibility. I created them all, but at the same time, I have a choice. I can try to do different things differently, and you know, and now I haven't met somebody who said, oh, I can't believe you read thinking, you believe in that garbage and Think and Go Rich. That's all fairy stuff. That's all hocus pocus. Nothing in there is real. But you know what? That was an actual quote from a partner of mine. And I don't want to document the reports, but things are different.
Yeah.
Because of attitude.
Yeah, attitude is almost everything in most cases. And it's funny, sometimes we're our own worst enemy with the doubts and fears that are created in our own mind, let alone the doubts and fears that are created by people that are around us. How do you overcome your doubts and fears?
Remind myself I can start over tomorrow. Try to evaluate, why am I feeling the way I am? Escaping to a happy place. I love the lake and the boat.
Yep.
Getting re-energized by other people that are full of energy and full of positive energy. All of those things. And the more you get, the better you get at it. It seems the more it happens. Right now, I think is the best my business life and me and my wife have been in my life, and now my biggest concern is trying to give my children this gift, which at their age they're of that skeptical. But one of my kids is beginning to catch on. Michael and my other two are. I can see some of the good stuff starting to seep into their. I am invincible, and Daddy, you're crazy brain. What was the old joke? Was my dad was the dumbest man alive when I was 16, and when I got to be 25, I was amazed how much he learned in 10 years.
That's true. I still can't remember the time when I used to know everything to the time when I don't feel like I know much of anything at all.
Well, they're at the I know it all age, and you're crazy. Why listen to you? And so the only concern I have in my life these days is I just wish I want the best for my children. I want to share. I wish it was a requirement for all young people to read Dale Carnegie, to read and learn Napoleon Hill, understand the principles of cause and effect, understand the mastermind principle. I mean, there are so many things that are successful mentors. Tom Edison was one of the things that impressed me about Napoleon Hill was Thomas Edison, my hero, for whatever reason, was in that book. Napoleon Hill got to meet and interview Thomas Edison. God, that just gives me chills thinking about things like that. So it's I think that for whatever reason, the school system should include that kind of learning and that kind of positive goal-setting energy to help this be a prosperous nation. I mean, collectively we are very prosperous, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
That's so true. A lot of the heroes have talked about the schools are set up just to create employees rather than create entrepreneurs who can change the world and change their lives and help attain their dreams. And I think that one of the major reasons why we're doing the Heroes program is just to give kids an idea of how people think that are incredibly successful, because the premise is based on Earl Nightingale's The Strangest Secret of the Mind.
Right.
Which is what you think about becomes your reality, and that to be a true success every day, all you have to do is have a worthy ideal, and then you seek out each day to find people that will help you achieve your goals with the degree of excellence and produce a product or a service that is so valuable to the society that you will attain your financial dreams because you provide such a quality product or service. So I think that, just Thomas Edison and Earl Nightingale and Think and Grow Rich, I mean, those are some of the most profound books that everybody should read.
Exactly.
In your life, you've had quite a few ups and downs, and there's been some people that have really screwed you in the process. How important is it to forgive people that upset, offend, and oppose you? And then on the other side of that coin is how important is it to hold people that have done that accountable, that there are consequences for their actions?
I think forgiveness is mandatory. When you can't forgive, then that eats away at you and destroys the momentum that you can create for yourself. You can choose not to associate. You can choose not to partner or do business with somebody that you've had experiences of negativity with. I don't think it's wrong to say I detach myself from that individual, but to hold resentment, anger, and venom and want revenge ultimately, I think, destroys your good. So that's why I think, at least my belief system is do my darndest. And the natural thing to do is want to get even. The natural thing I want to do is want to be angry and blame. And I think until I could really, I was in a business with a partner who didn't do what I felt he should do, and it was the demise of the business. And it put my family in a terrible financial result by the decisions that I made. But it was real easy to say, well, if he had just done what he was supposed to have done, this would have never happened. And I had to get beyond that, and I realized that forgiveness was a big part of it. You know, I totally forgive and still love him as a person. I'd never want to be in a partnership with him again. So I think I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing what you want. Well, that's the point. Beautiful part is you have choices. I can choose to work with this person. I can choose to never work with this other person. I can choose to build a relationship with this person. I can choose to coexist with this other person without an active relationship. But for me to hold resentment to somebody, they don't even know you're. You know, if I was mad at him right now, he wouldn't know it. The only person that would get a body reaction is me. So forgiveness is mandatory and is a difficult thing to control, but you're a better person for it if you can start working on it.
Do you experience service to others as a source of joy?
Service to others as a source of joy? Sure. I love getting paid. I love prospering, but I really delight in people being empowered with something I knew that they didn't know. So yes, it's energizing, it's delightful, it's rewarding for somebody to go, I didn't know I could do that. And let me tell you, then getting back to me and saying, you know what, I took what you showed me and I did this and it helped my family in this way. You know, that's empowering to me. I love that. And so yes, I enjoy the service, but you know, I can't do everything for free. I have to do some things. But what happens is I think money is a byproduct of the right attitude. Yeah,
of the service that you provide for others. What place does the power of prayer have in your life?
It's extremely important. You know, I think that even in Napoleon Hill, communicating with the infinite intelligence, which is I prefer to call God, is prayer. And the prayer of Jabez, basically, where you can say, "Help me be able to do this," because I heard this and I can't take credit for it, but God does not want poor people. God wants people. He does want rich people because they can help people who haven't seen how to become prosperous. There's infinite abundance. There's not a lack, and only prosperous people can help the others. So you know, I give back and I pray because you know I just don't believe that we're all alone and this is the end. There is a creator and there is a whole lot out there that we don't totally understand. But when you communicate with that power and that energy of the universe, God, you know, then you connect and good things can happen for you.
Well, that's so true. Well, you've been through some pretty difficult times. How important is it to keep a sense of humor in the face of difficult times?
Well, that humor sure does make life go a lot more fun. So very important. That's why I love music. I love, you know, I play music at a lot of the events you've been at because not to expect to get money or to get pats on the back. The fact that I'm seeing people smile and laugh and forget about their woes for a while.
Boy, that's so true. Well, do you feel if there are any heroes in our society today that aren't getting the recognition that they deserve?
I'm sure there are. I don't know if I could identify anybody in particular right now, but you know, anyone who has the ethics, the goodness about themselves to make other people breathe easier are heroes. And they may not be famous, they may not be well known, and they may never be known. It doesn't make them any less a hero.
Why are heroes so important in the lives of young people?
Because that's their formative years, and if they don't have role models to emulate in a more positive way, then we just create more negative issues on the world, the terrible things such as, teaching hatred and teaching, that turns into terrorism and all the, the world has got a, it's not outbalanced. There's much more good in this world than there is negative, but the negative makes the news.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more we can show positive and the more mentor role models that young people can see, maybe that's, love can conquer hate.
Mm-hmm. I believe that it can. It's the only thing that I really know that will. God says, love your enemies, do good to those that hate you, bless those that curse you, and pray for those that despitefully use you and persecute you, because that's the only way that you can turn evil to good. And so,
yeah, and that's a tall order for human beings.
Well, it is a hard thing to do. Well, how does it feel to be recognized as an internet hero?
I'm very honored. I don't think of it as me being a hero, but if that's what I can be labeled as, I take it graciously and accept it humbly, and want to maintain a relationship with you and the world to maintain that status. I just enjoy telling people what I know, and hopefully they see tremendous return on their investment of time and money that they've done with me. It brings back them, tenfold what they put into it. So my wish is for people to see what's possible if they don't know about it and benefit from it.
It's funny because when I started the Heroes program, I had the acronym of Heroes, which is somebody that helps enthusiastically, responsibly, optimistically, exceptionally, socially, and or spiritually. And after doing almost 40 interviews, I've come to the realization that most of the people I recognize as heroes are entrepreneurs, and the majority of them think that the entrepreneurs are the great heroes in our society because they provide work for others, they pursue their dreams, and it's through their process and optimism that we get the greatest advances, just like from Thomas Edison.
All right.
And some of the others. Well, how are you making the world a better place?
How am I making the world a better place?
Yeah.
If I empower people to improve their lives, several of my customers have left jobs they hated, which, improved their lives, increased their incomes, built relationships with new people that they didn't know, enabled them to travel and experience God's world. It's kind of like every little piece influences the next piece. And, I don't know much about the butterfly effect, but hopefully my positive vibrations of excitement and passion of like, look what this can do for you, and people taking action with it, just replicates that. And so I'm hoping that I am making a difference. I know personally some people that has made tremendous strides with what little bit I've shown them. And I've had comments like, I made my money back the first day. God, thanks for showing me what I could do. I made 20 times that much money the first month because what you showed me. Yeah. I got to quit my job. My wife got to quit my wife got to quit her corporate job that she didn't enjoy. She can sleep in till 10 o'clock every day if she wants to. All of that is the same. Hopefully that is the improvements that I can make a change with people, is showing them things that allow them to get what they want and out of their lives.
Do you have any good solutions to the problems facing society, especially racism, child and spousal abuse, and violence among young people?
Oh man, that's a heavy one. John Lennon said, "All you need is love," and love is the answer. And all of those things are, all those problems are the result of greed and hate and negative energies. And if we can overcome negative energy, then maybe that more and more of that will dissipate.
Boy, that's true.
But it's just I don't have an answer. I don't have a definitive answer other than love.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you had 3 wishes for your life in the world that would instantly come true, what would they be? I'm living my wishes.
I wish there wasn't the fear of the negative things going on in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could eradicate the bombings in London and 9/11, those kind, and the boys getting killed in Iraq. I mean, that kind of stuff saddens me on a daily basis.
Yeah. Me too.
I wish that wasn't. I wish we didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, I'm on the journey that I'm enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
I could be shallow and say I want my lake house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's a dream of mine, and I'm going to achieve it, and it's enjoyable to work towards it. So I don't want to go. I think it would be. It wouldn't be as much an accomplishment if I snapped my fingers and it was here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would rather go through the process. Even though I want it today, I have to visualize it now and take the action to manifest it by doing good deeds for a period of time, but not a long period of time. I can see it. I can see things now coming about faster than I could 5 years ago.
Do you think it's important to realize that to achieve any goals or dreams that you have in your life, that a lot of times you have to put in a lot of work to attain them? It's not instant gratification?
Oh, most definitely. Instant gratification, I just think, is not as appreciated. I think that's one of the problems that I've done as a parent, is that I've given my children too much, and so they expect too much, and they want instant gratification rather than feeling the sense of accomplishment of doing something themselves and setting a goal and accomplishing it over time, as opposed to on a whim, I want something, and then why can't I have it now? And then becoming bitter that they don't have it. That's something we all have to change.
That's true. Well, what do you think about the In Search of Heroes program and its impact on youth, parents, and business people?
I think it's a powerful idea that you've come up with, Ralph. I think that that anything of this positive nature is going to make a difference in the world, and you've just got to keep. You just got to keep your eyes on the focus of what you want to accomplish and move forward. And I admire I know personally firsthand your persistence, and so that persistence will make it be what you envision it to be.
Yeah, I've been working on it for 13 years, that's for sure. But it's a worthwhile vision, that's for certain.
Well, you're a better person, and the planet's a better planet for people doing things like that.
Well, thank you. What are the things that parents can do that will help their children realize that they too can be heroes and make a positive impact on the lives of others?
What can they do?
Yeah, what can parents do to help their kids realize that they too have the potential of being heroes and helping the world?
Well, basically all I know that what parents can do is they've got to live by example. They can't say be one way and do another. They can't say don't do drugs and do drugs. They can't say don't lie, but lie to their peers, and they're call in sick to go play golf. I mean, the example that parents show has got to be of the one they expect their children to. If the parents do certain things that are of a negative nature, the children, even though you tell the children not to do something, they're still going to do it. So, creating the example that you expect them to do. If you believe that they should have spiritual nourishment, you should do something that show them an example. Don't send kids to church or teach them of the spiritual nature and then not act it yourself. Setting the example and doing things together, and I think having dinner together is something that's been lost in this country. I think the family dinner has just was an important time for bonding for families, and I'd like to see it get back to that. We struggled to get our kids together for many years to have dinners because they all want to do things on different time schedules, and it was important for us all to sit down together. And now they remember it, that was some good times and a lot of good bonding happened. So the examples that parents do, they just got to really pay attention to what kind of example they're setting.
There's a question in society nowadays about being your kid's best buddy in deference to being a disciplinarian, somebody who sets the rules for the kids and is strong in getting kids not to do things that are wrong for them. What do you think about that dichotomy? Well,
I think that it's a parent's. I think the parent should display love, and there should be no question that a parent, genuinely, their child is a priority with them by all means. But you're not their friend. You're their parent, and you've got to discipline, and you've got to have consequences for the things that they make mistakes on. And it's tough. It's been tough for me, especially being a step family with my wife Susan. It's still tough to this day because her child and my child and different. There's a lot of that going on, and it makes it tough. But obviously, if they don't have direction, then they'll be directionless. And so, being their friend is not what you're here to do. You're here to be a parent, be a leader and a guide to them being a functional human being. And I don't know that being their best friend is always the best answer.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, and you've had a lot of good information to share. It's always most amazing to hear people that have gone through difficult things on how they've overcome those problems as a good example for what young people should do, because they're going to have to expect good times and bad times in their lifetimes.
Exactly.
Well, again, I just really appreciate your time, and I appreciate just the knowledge that you've shared with us.
Well, thank you, Ralph, and it was a pleasure.
Thanks again, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.